Hey y'all, so today we have a mom, lactation consultant, and a doula who saw a need and filled it. Our guest today is passionate about informing mothers of color the benefits of breastfeeding while also making it easier to do so by providing them with the products to aid them in comfortability. Whether that's comfort while pumping, breastfeeding, packing for mommy and me, or simply feeling comfortable as a breastfeeding mom to go without leakage. If you know, you know. I've ruined several of my favorite shirts by making the decision to breastfeed. Even with that, she has dedicated her time into pouring into the community. And that is what bridging the gap is, the link between various healthcare worlds to uphold one mission: proper and safe care holistically. So let's welcome Jazmin Culver, the owner and founder of the Suckle Center, which is currently listed on Babylist. Go get it. To the Evolved Nurse podcast. Hello, Jazz. And like I said, this is a Bridging the Gap series. So this is where I come in and I talk to people who are not in the nursing world, but of other professions to get their take on what their career is. So my first question is, did you always want to be a lactation consultant?
Absolutely not. Girl, I didn't even know what lactation was.
So how do we get here?
So after I had my first baby, I actually stumbled across, obviously there was a lactation consultant that was at the hospital. Mm-hmm. She introduced herself, but we didn't have much interaction, so I didn't think much of it, honestly. But after I had my first baby, he maybe was about a year old, give or take. And one of my cousins, her friend became a lactation consultant. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh, this is an actual career path. Like at the hospital, I'm just thinking it comes like with the hospital, you know? Yeah. I didn't think that it was something that you're able to do not in the, healthcare system, I guess. But the girl was like a fitness trainer or something, and she became a lactation consultant. And so it sparked my interest. At this point, I think he had just stopped nursing. Maybe 6 months prior, give or take. And so I was like, oh, we had a great lactation journey. Like, I could do this. Like, why not? And so as I looked into it, I actually have a psychology degree with a minor in marriage and family therapy from UNLV. And so, when I looked into it, a lot of the requirements I actually already had for my degree. Mm-hmm. And so, as we just talked about being scatterbrained, I was working at the credit union at the time, and I was like planning everything out, like, oh, I'm about to become a lactation consultant. I already have so many of these aspects that is needed. I breastfed, all of the things. Came up with the Suckle Center name, had paid this girl in Canada that was Black to do my logo. Just like hit the ground running. I had like figured out how I wanted the space to be set up, all of the things. But I already had a business at the time. Mm-hmm. And so eventually I just set it to the side and was like, I'll come back to it at some point. But then when I had my second baby, our lactation journey was hard. Like it was hard. And so in the lactation consultant that I received from Kaiser, which is our healthcare system here, she was like very vague in the assistance that she was able to provide. She's like, oh, you need to just try another position. Oh, like, girl, I didn't try all of them. This not me. Right. And so she was like, oh, just give it some time. It'll be okay. Like, it was just no care, no follow-up, no nothing. And so at that point, I was like, oh, I gotta figure this out, and get this business together, because if this is what they giving, like, this is crazy. You getting paid to do nothing, essentially.
Exactly.
I'm like, absolutely not.
Like, look, you making a good chunk of change. Yes. Show me how to latch this baby, and I still can't figure it out.
And the crazy part is she was actually Black, and it was over a Zoom call because he was born right after the whole COVID situation. But it was never like, oh, if you continue to have problems, come in, or let me, schedule an appointment. It was like nothing. It just felt so lonely and uncared for. And I'm just like, it has to be more than just this. Like, I shouldn't be having to reach out to my friends when you getting paid to tell me how to figure this out.
I should just pay my friends.
Yes. And so at that point, I was like, okay. Obviously I had a brand new baby, so it still took me a little minute to, get it all together. But I knew in that moment, like, okay, I have to go forward with this and figure out how I can get this business together. Literally for his whole first year of life, he was my, I don't want to call it my test dummy, but he was my guinea pig. on, you know, content, on product, on trying to figure it out. But I'm grateful that that happened, because had I went into it after I had my first baby, I would have been just as clueless and probably unhelpful as the people, because we didn't have any issues. And so now that I've had my second baby and we did have issues, I can now be a lot more empathetic. I can let them know like what helped me, on top of the education, obviously, that I've received.
So for me, I know that when I was breastfeeding, because he hasn't gone for a week. Talking about the same mom friends. He
Good job.
milky titty every now and then. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? And so for me it was very hard. I think when I first got my drop of milk, my doula was like, has your milk came in yet? I was like, I don't know. She was like, oh, you'll know.
Yes. No, you know what's crazy though is they don't be knowing, in the hospital do not be helpful.
Ah,
It's such a misconception that colostrum is not milk. So a lot of people
true.
feel that their milk has not come in, and the whole time the colostrum is full-fledged ready.
And let's talk about how most women don't feel like they're feeding their babies enough when they're giving them the colostrum.
Yes.
Because you got to think about it. A baby's stomach is like this
Yeah.
big.
It's the size of a cherry when they first come.
And
And
so,
it's not fully empty. And a lot of people don't realize that either.
look, and moms feel so guilty. Like they're
Yeah.
like, I can't feed my baby. I can't feed my baby. And you're actually doing the right thing. Like you're
Yes.
doing your job as a mom, and you have to think about how many benefits colostrum has. And
Yes.
filling your baby up. Now, if your baby can, and it's nothing wrong with babies getting bottle fed, but your baby is going to drink more of that milk because it doesn't have as many nutrients as the colostrum.
Exactly. I always compare um I always compare a formula to like having a cheeseburger and french fries, no disrespect to anybody. Whereas
Mhm.
breast milk is more so like having a salad. So not only does the formula fill them up faster, it sits on their stomachs longer. So a lot of people feel like their babies are not getting enough because the baby is hungry again at a much faster rate. And then part of that too is you do have the misconception like, oh, I want to sleep for 2-3 hours, but this baby is now up and hungry again. So a lot of people opt for the formula because they want the baby to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like, realistically, if you just figure out how to get your setup where you're sleeping with baby, side lying, I know they don't encourage co-sleeping, but doing that in a safe manner, you actually can still get, you know, enough sleep, because you're able to just kind of let your breast be free,
And
and
you
let
will
go
find,
find it themselves. Yes.
which is why I had to sleep train very, very early because I wouldn't get sleep at night. Like I would, even maybe a month ago, my fiance didn't recognize that if he sleeps in the bed with us, he's on me all night long.
Yes.
He will not go to sleep. He's like, oh, it's over there. Let's go. So I know that we're kind of drifting off of the entrepreneurship, but I did want to talk about the hardness that moms have whenever that time comes and they're cluster feeding.
Ooh, the sad part is a lot of women are not educated that cluster feeding is even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is another thing we were just talking about, doing a lot of preconception work. This is another reason why I would like to do preconception work, is so that way you have this information. Prenatal is cool, but you have, like we just said, like you're scatterbrained already. You have, you know, pregnancy brain. You're not really retaining the information that you're receiving. It's still good to hear it. Don't get me wrong, but the retention of it is just not where it could be if you had that information before you were actually pregnant or in the thick of cluster feeding. So I feel like cluster feeding will be okay if you are aware that it's coming and when it's coming and
Yeah.
how long it's going to last. The biggest thing with cluster feeding is understanding the diaper count. If you're able to focus on your baby's diaper count, then you won't focus so much on if my baby is getting enough, because that diaper count is going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I actually worked for WIC maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago. And so what I will say is that particular week that I worked at, we were really good at providing handouts that really broke down the diaper count, the time frame in which cluster feeding will occur, how long it usually lasts. And so I still to this day, gratefully, it's a free resource. I can send it to anybody. It's not like I stole the content, but I love it. So I usually send that to my moms. And it actually starts really early on. Within that first week of birth, you go into a cluster feeding time frame. Mm-hmm. And so that is easy for you to believe that my baby is not good enough when you're already not fully confident in the fact of if you've given enough or not already. And then now it's like this baby is wanting to eat every 15, 20 minutes. They only suckling for a little while. So it's like, all right, is the latch good? Is the latch not good? And realistically, it just comes with the territory. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like if they're educated on it in advance versus literally when they're going through it, then, or, you know, they left to figure it out on their own. They don't even know that they're going through it. No, then, you know, that's hell for somebody and they don't deserve that realistically. So I definitely believe that between the hospitals, the doctor's offices, the doulas, the lactation consultants, that it definitely has to be some sort of a communication so that these moms already have someone that they can ask these questions to, you know, throughout this time frame, before, after, during, you know, in the process of. So that way they don't feel alone. They don't feel confused. They don't feel like they're not good enough. You know, they don't feel like they're not given enough. But it's just, like you said, bridging the gap, trying to figure out how we can all get on the same page. Unfortunately, systemically for Black women, the healthcare system is just not on our side. And this is why I heavily encourage to have doulas, and for doulas that do not have a lactation component in their education, for them to already have the resources available and, you know, provided to these families, introduce them in advance, make sure they have some kind of, you know, free consultation, incorporate it in your pricing in some kind of way if you're a private doula. But just, I feel like as a doula, you can't only focus on the pregnancy and the birth. You have to know that you need to have a series of lactation consultants ready and prepared to help these moms and make sure that they're good, that they're trustworthy, and that they will show up for real.
Yeah, because my doula, she tried her best to teach me how to latch, but of course it was my first baby. I didn't know what I was doing. I ended up going to the WIC office actually, and using the resource that they had as the lactation consultant. And even then, it still didn't feel like he was latching right. He was like gnawing on my nipple, in which I used like lanolin, and then the mama, it was like
the Mama Earth.
The Mama Earth nipple butter. And the lanolin, it was just like very thick.
I hate lanolin. I would never, ever, ever give a mom
use
lanolin.
It on their lips. Yeah, some people use it on their lips. I thought, I was like,
okay. You don't catch some flies.
So what product would you recommend for mamas who have the cracked nipples?
Something like, I actually really, really like the nipple butter from Milk Drops. So Milk Drops is actually a Black-owned lactation company. She actually is an IBCLC, or International Board Certified Lactation Consultant, which is like the doctor of lactation. Okay. She is a Black mom. She had 4 boys. She exclusively and essentially breastfed them all. And she actually makes teas, the nipple butter. I feel like I'm missing something. And then she obviously does IBCLC work, actually assisting the moms too. She's based out of New Orleans. Okay. But the Mama's Earth, I'll use that one as well. That one is good. Anything that's like coconut oil, shea butter, olive oil type of base is a lot better. Yeah. I like that the Mama's Earth, it does have the little like beads in it. I guess like where the coconut oil maybe didn't break down all the way, but I feel like that kind of helps you roll it into the nipple, kind of like a massage as you're rubbing it in. But something that's more, I don't know what lanolin actually is, to be honest, but I know it don't feel natural. It feels very plasticky. It's not my go-to. Absolutely hate it. But honestly, for any moms that are like I don't mess with none of those, or I have an allergy, or my pockets are stretched, you actually can use your own breast milk. Your own breast milk actually is a very great healing component to your skin as well. So you just want to express a little bit and rub that in, let it dry, let the nipples air out. You can do cold compresses for very short periods of time, and all of those things will help with any breakage in the skin and allowing it to heal. The biggest thing is letting it air out, honestly. But using your own milk definitely is good nourishment and a healing component.
Okay. I'm glad that you said that, but I'm also glad that you spoke about the collaboration that you feel like hospitals, lactation consultants, all that need to come together, nurses, everybody needs to come together and get on one accord. because when it comes to these moms who they want to breastfeed, they want to do all of these things, but they have they don't feel like they have the resources there for them. I didn't have my baby in the hospital. I had a home birth.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. I actually did an episode with my midwife.
Oh, I love that.
But I can say that I didn't know what I was doing at all. I just kind of sort of ended up at WIC to get some food or something. And then I was like, okay, I think they give out free breast pumps.
Yeah, they do. They do.
The big
And you can get it from the hospital too. So
Mhm.
usually most hospitals are in partnership with a WIC. So a lot of people don't realize that either. And I don't know how much of the information that hospitals are given, but you can rent it from the hospital and take it home with you. So it's actually by law, all insurance companies have to give free breast pump options too. And a lot of people don't know that either.
So like she just said, if you are a mom who decides that they want to breastfeed or pump, you can go to your insurance website, because I have done it. Go to your insurance website. They do offer free ones, and then they do offer discounted pricing. Discounted prices for ones. But you can also go on Babylist, free plug, to get hers. I'm just saying. And she HSA, FHA, right? FSA. Okay. But yes, I do feel like there needs to be a sense of collaboration, because had my doula not spoken to me about breastfeeding, about what I wanted to do with that process, I would have just been like, here, this baby can get some milk, get out my
You know what's crazy about that too? You know what's crazy is because if you go the holistic route of having a home birth, why not already have it, prepared that I'm going to breastfeed? Like, let's not take part of it. And I said this in something else that I was talking about too. I'm like, okay, we're going to trust God for ourselves and our wounds. We're going to trust God that, make sure that we're going to have this baby. We're going to trust God with the man that we had this baby with. We didn't trust God to make sure that we done made it through the birthing process. Then when it come to feed the baby, we like, nah, God, you gave us the milk, but it's all right. We're not going to use that.
Look.
So it's the same thing.
Because people, you already feel like the baby has taken over your body. So you want a sense of autonomy at some point. And then you're like, hold on, what if the baby bite me? That's always the first thought. It's like, what if the baby decides that they want to, and don't let them get teeth. When the baby gets teeth, it's over with. But for the most part, I think my baby may have bit me once or twice. And
it really just depends on the baby. Like my great grandmother, she breastfed 3 kids in 1,000 years ago. Okay, when pumping and all the other stuff wasn't even an option, and she was like, "Huh."
It's beautiful that you had that example.
I didn't even know until more recently. I was already in the trenches before I had any clue. Okay. Oh. It's not what you think it is.
I remember my daddy telling me, you don't need to be doing that. This baby got places to go and people to see. Like, how dare you? I was like, he'll be there when he be there.
Okay. Don't offend me. I'm giving him this good liquid gold.
You see her shirt, y'all. You see her shirt. Yes,
make sure. We got a few left. Get yours.
Look, I'm telling you, because one thing about it is, the older generation, they came up through that. Like, my dad was a home birth baby. Aww. My grandma probably breastfed. They didn't have a lot growing up. But as soon as they see all the new technology and they gave their babies milk with fill them up, or to make them go to sleep too.
Yep.
Then they try to push that on you. But now things are changing, because we're understanding the benefits of breastfeeding, the benefits that it has not only on our baby's brain development, but their immune systems, all of these things. And so now we're understanding more and more and more, because we're curious, just like they were. It's just
going back on the other side.
Yeah, every generation getting closer and closer to like pandemic. We was all together. We separated back.
We're coming back.
we're making our way.
You know what? And I really don't even blame them, because the way that it was positioned, like, so we've actually been having this conversation a lot more lately, about why the older generation started to move away from breastfeeding. And one of the ladies, she helped me with like getting my business stuff together, and so she doesn't have children, and so she got curious, like she's like, this is like really amazing, like I don't know nothing about no breastfeeding, like so on Mother's Day she actually asked her family, like, you know, did y'all breastfeed, did y'all not breastfeed, and they said no, and so her grandma was like, we actually were encouraged to not breastfeed, like we were encouraged to give formula, like it was like we were told that it was more nourishful for our babies because we knew exactly what was in it, and it was more like a status thing. Well, my great grandmother said it was more like a status thing. Like once formula came out, it was a matter of if you were Black and you can afford formula, that was like the status quo. And so sadly, it's all systemic. It's all systemic.
And then it's like we have to think back history wise, and the mothers that we had, our great grandparents, they were busy feeding
other people's babies while their babies is being snatched and moved over. So yeah, it definitely has some traumatic history to it as well. And so you do have to take all of these things into consideration. And it's tough. It is tough. And I definitely, you know, I don't scold anybody, but I would rather you have the education so that way you can actually make an informed decision. Yeah, instead of just saying no. Or even too, I always encourage people, if you're not 100% sold on breastfeeding, combo feeding is a real thing. You can feed your baby both formula and breast milk, and that way it'll at least attempt to balance out that digestive system, you know, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, Lord child, the immune system. You know, it, at least because you're getting both. So your baby might be full, but they at least are getting these nutrients on the back end. And even figuring out what that plan looks like. Are you only giving formula at night? Because some people do that too. I want to sleep. I don't blame you. So they give the baby formula only at night, but they're giving them, you know, breast milk all throughout the day. So realistically, yes, breast is best, but we do want to make sure that we are taking into consideration, you know, mom's mental health and how that actually works for their particular life.
Yes, because you do have to consider postpartum depression, baby blues, all of the things. And sometimes you're not going to feel like you even, and just being 100% honest, some people aren't going to feel a connection to their baby right off. And that can lead to you not wanting to breastfeed. And like we said, make sure that you're taking your mental capacity into consideration, because I combo fed. I had to go to work, drop my baby off. He got this formula. Well, actually, for a while, I was producing enough to where he could have his bags of formula on time. So
yeah,
I would take them with me. But if I didn't have enough, he might have to have this dairy free this dairy free what is it, gym or something like that. That's the one he ate. Now
listen.
He's on the plant-based milk.
I honestly highly suggest goat milk formula if we are going to use any kind of formula, because it is the closest thing that is to human breast milk. Like the components of goat milk is the most similar. But obviously WIC doesn't have that. Obviously it's not, you know, the most cost efficient. So you know, you want to educate, but obviously you got to be realistic in what you're speaking about and who you're speaking to, as well. But at least if the education is there, you know, you can always inform them of any deals that are happening, how they can buy it in bulk or whatever the case may be. If they have it on offer up or something, you know, people be having all kind of stuff on everything these days.
Look, you have to look high and low.
High and low.
Because you really do. It's not easy to breastfeed.
No, it's not.
That's why we hold empathy for people who don't or can't, because some people, they can't, and then they're beating themselves up because they really wanted to do this, but it's okay. There are
and
options.
That's where donor milk comes in handy. And a lot of people don't know about donor milk either, but that is a real thing. And to my understanding, through Medi-Cal these days, you are able to get so much donor milk without even having to have you know, a NICU baby or whatever the case may be. It used to be only like if something happened to mom, or baby had to go to NICU or whatever the case may be. But to my understanding, now you're able to get up to so many ounces through Medi-Cal with no charge. But also understanding too, if you have a friend, I mean, obviously donor milk is pasteurized, so that's the best way to go, because it's making sure that it's filtering out any, impurities or whatever the case may be. But if you have a friend or a family member that you absolutely trust and you want to, share milk with them. And I know I have a friend who literally had 3 kids, and I don't know if the lady that she was using her milk was just a milkmaid or what the hell was going on. But the whole 3, or with all 3 of her kids, she got milk from this lady. She knew her lifestyle was good. She clean ate. She was very holistic. And she got milk from her with all her kids.
When I tell you, I have seen some people with whole freezers full of milk, and I'm like, all I think about is the mastitis, like overproduction, because some people,
if you're managing it properly, it don't happen.
I just feel like my boobs hurt. Hold on, my boobs hurting. Let the hot water hit them, because what?
You know what's crazy though? The hot water is going to continue to make the milk flow. You do not want to do hot water.
I need to call somebody. Get me the cold compress. Somebody, what? I'm in here in the shower, and I'm reading this stuff because of course this is not my specialty.
No, it used to, in your defense, it was thought that hot compresses was the way to go because it does ease the discomfort, but the heat makes the milk produce more.
I can see that because you rub to get your ducts.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that's the heat that you exactly. So somewhere in science we missed it at first.
And that's why science is a study. It's still going.
We practice it.
We always practice it, and it always changes. And that's why it's okay for my nurses be okay with understanding evidence-based practice and how everything evolves, changes, things will happen. And so you have to be able to change your practice along with science. And I see so many people, they don't do that. It's like, we've done this for X amount of years, we're going to keep doing it. But that's not how it should be done.
No.
At all. So, mamas, if you out here using hot water, clog your ducts, that will help. However, you need to be ready to pump or put the titty in the baby mouth. Or put that boob in the baby mouth. Either or.
I always tell moms that this is one thing you can't get from the hospital. Most hospitals will give you a manual pump for free.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and WIC usually does too, actually. So I would tell moms to make sure they get a manual pump because, like you said, if you are in the shower, it is naturally going to make that milk flow. So with the manual pump, you actually can pump while you're in the shower instead of just allowing the milk to spray around the shower. So then it will spray. But like you said, if you are somebody who feels like you're not getting enough, if you are somebody who is working and will be away from your baby, this is an easy way for you to go ahead and gather some of that milk instead of losing it. When I would pump in the shower, I would easily get anywhere from about 1 to 2.5 ounces. So definitely utilize, that free flowing milk due to that hot water to your advantage, and don't let it go to waste because that could be your stored milk right there.
Yes, because I think I used to have the suction one.
Yeah. The Haka or something like it.
Yeah, the Haka. So that's what I used when I was in the shower because, I didn't want to do the pump.
Be in there.
Bella has
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you could use the Haka too because the water is probably going to make the silicone make it stick to you. So then that way you can just utilize. That's true. Yeah, you can use the Haka as well. That's a good one. I'll start recommending that as well. Thank you.
So let's get into, you said that your baby was the reason for your business, right?
Yes.
And how breastfeeding is hard. We know. So what did it look like for you to start the entrepreneurship journey?
Thankfully, when I started this business, I had already had a business before, and I had that business already for quite some time. When I was a freshman in college, I actually started a jewelry accessories business. So I made bracelets, earrings, anklets, and so on and so forth. We actually can still get some stuff, so plug that too.
What's the business called so we can plug it?
Richie Trinkets. I'll type it.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so with that, because I had that business first, it was actually kind of seamless for me to start this business as far as the logistics side of things, getting a domain, getting a website, having a pay system and all of those things was pretty seamless. Doing Instagram, all of that. Now, on the flip side of that, because I wasn't in maternal infant health as, you know, my day-to-day living or who my homegirls was or whatever the case may be. So, excuse me, having to find where I needed to place myself in order to get some extra education, to get the, you know, extra resources, to, you know, network and get the business brand out there, and those things, that took a little bit more work. By the grace of God, I ended up finding a Black breastfeeding support group, which I'll send you that information too, because I do frequent there. I ended up finding the Black breastfeeding support group, and it happened to literally be around the corner from my house. Yes. I was flabbergasted. I'm like, what? So they would meet in person and virtual, and they would meet once a week on Wednesdays. So at the time that I have found it, Wednesday had already passed. I'm like, dang, I gotta wait. But in the process of that, was speaking to my uncle, and my uncle was like, you gotta just start getting out here and talking to people. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not the shyest person, but like, sir, what are you talking about? He like, if you see a pregnant person, you see a person with a baby, you just gotta walk up to them and talk to them, tell them what you got going on. You know, if they don't need them, I have a friend. And I'm like, he done lost his mind.
This is bad.
I was like, he has lost his mind.
Said you gotta advertise for yourself.
Yes. And so we happened to be at lunch one day, and he was actually getting some product for me for one of my cousins. And he was like, well, let's practice right now. And so it just so happens to be a pregnant lady in the restaurant with us. And he literally walked up to her like, you know, with this the product that we have, this is what it's about. This is the owner right here. And then kind of like gave me a shove, like, do your thing. And that's basically how it started. Gratefully, at the time that I started, the product it actually came by accident. Mm-hmm. My plan was just to do the services. At the time, I was working a different job, and I wasn't able to. I had like maybe 3 extra sciences that I needed to do. And it wasn't possible for me to do them at the time with the job that I was working. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking for things that can go along with the services while I was waiting for the services to be available with the education completion, in order to kind of get the business at least, you know, known by people. And so I was just looking for something small, like a haka, like you were saying, like maybe some breast pads or something. I wasn't even trying to do too much in the process. In the process, I did have to take my baby to work with me a couple of days out of the week with breastfeeding. Obviously, I had to put my milk and stuff and send it when he wasn't with me. And I think, honestly, working that job and starting the business at the same time kind of made me put more emphasis and consideration on the breastfeeding mom who was working, because that was my life. Mm-hmm. So I always say like it was God sent, because that wasn't where I was going with it. And so gratefully enough, I was able to purchase some samples. I was breastfeeding, so I was able to test them out for myself, figured out what I liked, what I didn't like, what worked, what didn't work, what I was able to tweak, what I wasn't able to tweak. And I ended up getting fired from that job. And so in my last check, I purchased the product that I ended up really liking. I had my cousin who she was preparing to have a baby at the time. I used her, and my sister-in-law had just had a baby at the time. So I used them both to also sample so I can get some extra feedback. One of my husband's cousins, she was like a 7-time breastfeeder child, bless her heart. I provided her with some product too. And so between, the 4 of us, whatever the case may be, the feedback was great. And so once I got around the Black breastfeeding support group, they were kind enough to allow me to speak about my business. Those moms ended up getting interested, and that was all she wrote. From there, anytime they posted that something was happening in the city where Black birth workers were going to be, where Black mothers were going to be, where BIPOC mothers were going to be, I was showing up and showing out where I could. And then I've been grateful enough that the jobs that I have had have allowed me to be able to complete my education, with me now working in maternal infant health and providing me with more education and resources. So I would say it probably sounds easier than it was. Than it really was, and what it could be for other people in business. But I'm just grateful. One thing I can say is just, you got to network. You got to be able to show up. You got to be willing to speak to whomever about whatever. Literally, one of my first customers, I met her in the park, and she is one of my greatest friends to date. She helps me with my business often. But I met this lady in the park with her brand new baby, and just walked up to her and started talking to her. Invited.
Get out there.
I invited her to the Black Breastfeeding support group right along with me. She was like, "Oh, you don't know these people?" No, I'm grateful that they did not steal us because I would have felt really bad. I invited you here and we'd have been stolen. But even with her, she was struggling. Her baby was only 2 weeks old. She had an older baby, which is why they were even out. And she was struggling. And she was like, I started not to tell you because people be judging or, Yeah.
You outside? In the house. That's what
I don't recommend it, but you will see. Like now that you have one, when you have another, you like, I can't deprive this one. Yeah, I can't deprive this one because this one exists. So I was in no place to judge. My baby was born in April. My birthday was a month after my baby was born. Baby, we had a whole party. The baby was in the little boba wrap. We outside. My older baby had all kind of stuff already planned for the summer. So that little baby, he saw the water park.
But you have to burn off that energy of the other kid, and then you do have to be your own person. Like I was talking to one of my friends about this. Like just because you have a baby, it doesn't stop you from being who you are.
Absolutely.
You always have to think about, I am a mom, I'm a nurse, I'm this, I'm that, but I'm also Keisha.
Me, yeah.
I'm also an individual and I have to take care of me.
Absolutely.
So, go outside. Go outside.
And I want people to understand too, like I see a lot of moms that's like, I'm trying to get back to me. I'm trying to get back to me. You can't go back to who you were because you're no longer that person. You're not the person with one kid. You're not the person with no kids. You're not going back. Take this moment to reinvent yourself into whoever the new version of you is. And it can have components of what that past person was like. But I really, really, really want people to stop getting in the habit of saying, get back to me or go back to who I was, because you're never going to be that person again. You're going to have a hell of a lot of a harder time.
Yes, and it's causing you to mentally stifle yourself.
Yes.
Because when you never get back to that place, it creates depression.
Yes.
Like all that. Look, I remember seeing I think it was Blue. I don't know if you know who she is, Blue. No. And she was saying that her friend lost her dad. And she was like, I just want to be who I used to be. And she was like, you'll never
not be that person.
Like,
that just gave me chills.
Yeah, the person that you used to be had their
dad.
Had a
dad, yes.
And I had to do that as well because I lost my dad last February. Yes.
Wow, you were just speaking about him. That would have never even been in my mind. Oh, my condolences. Yes.
Freshly coming out of the postpartum period, like my baby had just turned a year. I was gonna see him that weekend, and he ended up passing away. And so I had to do that in grief as well. Say, I'm never going to be the Keisha that I used to be. All I can do is
move forward from right here,
be a better version of me, and keep moving forward.
Yes,
he wanted me to stay where I am, but yes, that mom that used to have the one kid, and now you got two, now you got three.
You'll never be the same. You'll never be the same.
That has no kids, who was able to go and do as they please. But if you pick your partners and make sure you have a support system, you can go to Montfort.
Clark Kent, what the kids be saying?
Because look, you can go to Montfort.
Yes.
And like that's you just taking time to yourself to be a mom in a space with other moms, or even you going out to be by yourself, do some things by yourself. And even if you have to take your kid, if you don't have the biggest support system, still fueling yourself, because you have to pour into yourself so that you can give to the babies. Because if you ain't got nothing, you just everybody
on the floor. Get it on the floor. Get it on the floor, because we ain't got it.
Look, we ain't got it. I ain't got it. We ain't got it. And then your kids end up growing up resenting you. And I did the best that I could with what I had. And they like, well, your best wasn't good enough.
And they will try it. Let me be the one to tell you.
Good enough. And
they will try it.
Sometimes your best wasn't good enough.
That's true. You gotta know. You gotta have that accountability and say, you know what?
Accountability, and you need to apologize.
Exactly. And not with not the generic one either.
Not the if I did.
I'm sorry for everything that I ever might have done. What?
I want you to pinpoint it, please.
Yes, Please give me the specifics because you didn't do
Yes, yes,
specifically.
yes. Our moms who, you're taking on the journey of breastfeeding, you're taking on the journey of even pumping, combo feeding, or even if you have to give, formula, whatever your option is, make sure that it's an informed decision, like Jazz just said, because you're given the resources. Make sure that you're seeking them out, because if you're not seeking them out, they
Then
might.
that's on you now.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna feel you. And make sure that if you are, a mom, like you're planning to have this baby, that you seek out people who can help you with the plan. So hold on, we ending this episode, ain't we? At a time. I'm like, gracious. We are having a good time here talking to you. But what would you tell to students who, like, not even students, people who decide that maybe I want to be a lactation consultant? What advice would you give them on starting that journey?
I would say make sure that you are a person who is understanding and empathetic. In understanding the healthcare system from not just who is catered to, but also who is not catered to. So that way you're providing tailored education and tailored services, and people can feel seen and comfortable, so that way they are able to meet their goals. And it's also beneficial for you, because if you're great to people, then they're going to refer you. Referring and reviews is the best you can ever receive, as a small business or anyone starting out in anything that you're passionate about. But the process is not hard. If you are going to school to be a nurse, if you are going to school for biology, if you are going to school for psychology, a lot of these things will allow you to become a lactation consultant. But I always say, anything in the healthcare system, please don't get into it for the money.
Yeah.
Please do not get into it for the money. You have to get into this work with the genuine care for the families that you will see, and having their best interests at heart, because they don't always have their own best interests. They don't even know sometimes how to have their own best interests. And so, to your point of bridging that gap, you have to be the one that's able to say, hey, speak to your nurse about this, speak to your doctor about this. You can change the doctor if they're not, urging you to continue on your lactation journey, or if they're not hearing you out when you say you can't take this medication because you're breastfeeding. Understand you do have a choice to change these people out, so that way you are able to see through your lactation journey. But if you're not a lactation consultant who's putting that much time, effort, and care into it, then you're not doing these families no better justice than the general healthcare system at large.
And the lady that you had when you initially started.
Right. And there is a lot of RNs who become lactation consultants because, I don't know if the hospital needs it, or, it just gives you that much more leverage on what you're able to do to get some money. But I would say this, I would hope that the same seriousness and care that you put into being an RN, that you will put into being a lactation consultant as well. But making sure too that you're taking the time to self-care, just like we're telling the mom, so that you don't have burnout, and so that you're not showing up to these appointments, stressed, overwhelmed, irritated. Because we're literally, you have to understand, people in the Black community specifically, and even in the Latino community, we are literally one penny size away from saying, you know what, we just gonna go ahead and get this formula and call it a day, because I survived, and JoJo survived, and Mama survived on the formula. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not giving that last little bit of effort that they needed to just say the hell with it anyway. So take care of yourself.
As you said, like, we are tired, and so we ain't the only ones that's tired. Everybody, we are tired. Like, I might not just be tired, you might be tired, we all might be tired. And I think that I always say this to, like, my staff whenever they get upset with me about something. I'm like, they tell me the reason why they're upset is because they have things going on at home, and I'm like,
you think I don't? You think the people that you're serving don't?
Yeah, I'm like, look, I understand that you have things going on at home, but you have to be able to compartmentalize in the job field that we have, in which you have to be like, what's at home is at home. We'll pick that up when we get back home.
Yes.
Work is at work, and we can leave that if you don't do that, if you don't compartmentalize, you'll come to work angry, upset, you'll give poor patient care.
Yeah.
And like, you giving them your last little bit, coming in here huffing and puffing and telling them, well, you can't get it. I think that you got it, so just Here, you just do the football pose and you'll be good. All right? Bye.
and that's the end of the journey right there. She like, I've been trying to football. The football ain't working. This is it.
Yeah, like I didn't feel like my arms was long enough for a football pose. I'm like, T-Rex arms. And I'm like, help me. Help, what does this look like?
Don't give me more than one complex. Now I got a complex about my arms. I got a complex about these boobs. Like, baby, this is too much. I had to go sit on somebody's couch after all of this.
Exactly. Like, I just really felt like I could not breastfeed appropriately. I'm like, I had to sing through it. I'm like, this hurts. What's going on? I went to the lactation consultant. I'm like, he ain't latching right. She was like, he's latching fine. I said, it don't feel right to me.
And honestly, you know what? Breastfeeding should not hurt. That is an often misconception. Like, oh, breastfeeding hurt. That's why I wouldn't do it. That's why I'm skeptical on doing it. Mm-hmm. Breastfeeding should not hurt. Let's be clear. If it hurts, that means that you do need to contact somebody. That means that something does need to be adjusted. And it could be something simple as a position. Don't get me wrong. She wasn't wrong in saying, try this, but the issue was I was already doing a football position and it wasn't working. So you telling me to do that, and I'm telling you it's still hurting, and you like, but maybe try it on the other side. Now you're pissing me off. So let's be clear. It could be a simple tweak as a position change, or even just padding the position a little bit more, whatever the case may be. But it should not hurt. If it hurts, then there's something that needs to be adjusted and addressed.
Okay.
And don't wait it out either.
Yeah, because I think I went early. I went early on because I want to feed my baby, and I wasn't going to be giving him formula and like we said earlier, not to take away from anybody else. But I was like, I've already done the full process. Like you said, I had a midwife and a doula. My baby has a holistic care doctor. Like,
hello. He said, now I'm going to end a holistic right here what I feed the baby.
Exactly.
Like, absolutely not.
I'm like, no, we're going to try this, and I'm going to see if I can get with it. If I can't get with it, he's just going to have to get off.
And you know what? I'm not even mad at that. What I can say is at least try. Mm-hmm. Obviously, everybody is not going to be able to go 6 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be. We absolutely could be, little needles in a haystack. I'm not mad at that. But what I will say is try. Mm-hmm. Don't be the person that's like, nope, I don't want to. I don't know nothing about it. It is what it is. The resources are there. You just have to seek them and stick to the program. And I say that too for the ladies who be like, this my baby daddy and we done broke up 15,000 times. If you willing to get that man all these tries, baby, I need you to get breastfeeding the same couple tries. Don't leave my little baby out here on their own, because you ain't leave that man on his own. Hey, so that's all I'm saying.
That's the late break. If at first you don't succeed,
just to shove off and try again. Okay.
Look, try again. So, Jazz, can you tell us what all products you have?
I have wearable breast pumps. I have reusable breast pads that are brown like us for visual representation. I have single-use storage bags that have a pour spout for precision, so you're not losing any milk. I have reusable milk storage bags that grow with your baby, so that way you're able to have that cost-efficient and eco-friendly journey with your baby. You're going to be going through them bags very often. They get pricey, so we wanted another alternative. We also have the sweatsuits. So we have them in red, black, and gray. And then we also have our travel combo bag, which is actually designed specifically for breastfeeding moms that are on the go, whether you're traveling for work or for leisure, whether you're going to just work, if you just be out and about at Disneyland, or, y'all be doing y'all thing. So if you're moving and grooving in these streets, our travel combo bag is specifically designed to hold all of your pumping accessories and needs, as well as baby's items and mom's items too. And then we have the services. So you can definitely reach out to us for some resources or some services regarding your lactation journey.
Okay, so where can they find you?
You can find us at the Suckle Center on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can email us at love@thesucklecenter.org. Or you can text me, 626-822-9196, and say, hey, Jazz, this is what I got going on. My auntie literally just referred somebody from Texas. And we had a phone, conversation and been texting in between time too. just to make sure that her journey is, going as intended.
Okay, so you do virtual, you do over the phone. Do you also do in person?
Yep. I've done some home visits if need be.
Okay, and where are you located?
We are in Los Angeles, California, so we are serving any of the greater Los Angeles area, Orange County area, whatever the case may be. Just let me know what you need, and then I can figure it out. And if I can, then I can at least point you in the right direction of somebody that might be closer to you.
All right. All righty. So with that being said, we'll have all Jazz's information down in the description box. Of course, if you have a friend or if you are pregnant, if you got a friend, gift them.
Yes. No, literally.
Gift
Y'all be
them.
with the baby showers with all the bells and whistles that really don't get used. I have a crib that I literally never used for my first baby.
I got one.
And you got what to see? And I literally just had to get rid of it. Like, it was crazy, but I had to. And so instead of, buying these things, you can buy gift cards or, midwifery care, lactation care, doula care, lactation accessories, the things that are really, really, really going to be used and necessary for a healthy and successful and holistic journey for these moms postpartum.
I was just talking to somebody earlier today and I was telling them that I had an interview with you and I sent her your website and she was like, oh, I have a friend that's about to have a baby. She was like, I think that this will be great.
Yeah. And we have gift cards too. So if you're not, I do know that sometimes with pumps, people can get a little bit on the, I'm with the Joneses. I want this one and that one. And I respect that. I'm not here to, compete in that kind of way. But that's why gift card works. So that way, if she has the pump that she wants and can give that some other kind of way, at least she can still understand the usefulness of the other products that we do offer that might not be out there.
Okay. Alrighty. As I said, Jazz's information will be linked below as well as the Suckle Center so that you can get in touch with her for all of your lactation needs, doula needs, anything that you need. You can reach out to her, and if she can't do it, she'll give you the resources for it. Okay? Because that's what we do around.
That's what we do.
And
we bridging the gap.
If we don't know, we can find somebody.
We can find somebody, okay?
So you made it to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. We are so grateful for Jazz, the owner and founder of the Suckle Center. She came on here. She gave us great information about her journey and how we can bridge the gap with that. And I am super, super, super excited to say, I think I have exceeded. I passed my 40th episode, y'all. And I've also passed 500 streams.
Yes.
So like I said, I am super excited. As you know, in the description box, you can get Black Girl Vitamins, 4% off, as well as Yoni Potion. In addition to that, I do have a med surge study guide that you can get on Etsy, as well as a ORS bar. So go and look into those. Make sure that you reach out to Jazz, as well as follow her at the Suckle Center on Instagram, Facebook, and where else?
TikTok.
And TikTok. And she also has a website, www.thesucklecenter.com.
All right.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Oh, you can follow us on YouTube too. We'll be uploading some content there coming up soon. And I think that one is at the Suckle Center as well.
Alrighty. So that will be it. And y'all have a great day.